Friends, most of us live as if the mind had to be packed full before life could have any strength. Packed with knowledge, packed with plans, packed with certainty. But what if the real strength has been waiting in the one place we never look? The empty part of you. That's the door we walk through today. But first, as always, let's welcome back last week's question. We asked, the last time you felt, heaven is being unfair to me, what was actually wounded? The event itself, or the expectation in your heart? And the one who could see that expectation, who is that? Amy, how was your inner weather this week?
This week was partly cloudy, clearing late, but I have to turn myself in first. For the first half of the week, I used the question completely wrong. On Tuesday, a relative scolded me over something small in our family group text, and when the sting rose up, do you know what I was thinking? I have already seen my expectation. Why am I still this angry? I was using the words of the practice to pick a fight with myself. It wasn't until Saturday evening on the train home, when the whole thing floated up again, that I suddenly remembered. Seeing was never a ban on feeling angry. You see, and then you gently ask. So I asked. And that expectation, family should understand me, really did loosen, like a knot giving up one turn. One pane of cloud slid open.
Thank you, Amy. Using the words of the practice to pick a fight with myself. What an honest confession, and every one of us has done it. My weather was fog with a bit of wind. I fell into a different pit. I spent the whole week searching for the one who sees the expectation, hunting for it the way you hunt for an object in a room. And the more I searched, the less there was to find. Then Thursday morning, sitting at a red light, an old grievance chose exactly that moment to replay itself. And I asked the question, what was actually wounded? And right on the beat of asking, the play in my mind stopped for one beat. And in that one beat, I understood. You don't find the one who sees. The moment you ask, seeing is already happening. The fog didn't fully lift, but the wind blew it thin.
And friends, did you notice? Both of our weather reports ended up standing in the very same spot. The moment the play in the mind stops for one beat, something inside suddenly empties. And the strange part is that this emptiness isn't a lack of something. It's exactly where the strength comes back. Today, Lao Tzu speaks about this empty head-on, and the image he reaches for, you would never guess it. Not a holy mountain, not the moon. A black, soot-covered old tool from a blacksmith shop.
Hello and welcome back, friends, to The Road to Awakening. I'm Leo, and today we continue Chapter 5 of the Tao Te Ching, the two lines standing right at the center of the chapter. Amy, would you read today's passage for us?
And I'm Amy, gladly. What goes on between heaven and earth, much like the wind box. When the wind box is not in use, it is hollow and contains nothing, and yet its function is never compromised. And when it is in use, the more it is in motion, the more it generates.
Thank you, Amy. The wind box. Many of us have never seen one. It's the blacksmith's bellows, a wooden chest with a nozzle, and the smith pushes and pulls its handle to drive air into the furnace. Its construction could not be simpler. On the outside, a wooden box, and on the inside, nothing. It is empty.
Leo, let me get stuck on the very first step then. Lao Tzu is talking about heaven and earth, about the whole turning universe. How does he land on a piece of workshop equipment? Isn't that a bit of a downgrade?
A good place to be stuck. Notice the tone of the line, much like the wind box. Lao Tzu isn't issuing a definition, he's extending an invitation. Doesn't it seem like a bellows to you? He invites us to look for ourselves. And what are we meant to see? The one feature of a bellows that is so plain we walk right past it. The reason it works at all is that the inside is empty. Empty, and it can breathe out wind. Stuff it full, and it's just a wooden box. In Chapter 11, Lao Tzu takes the same truth and sets it inside an even more ordinary object. 30 spokes share a single hub, and it is the empty hole at the center of the hub that lets the axle in and lets the wheel turn at all. Hear what that's saying. The cart is useful not because of its 30 sturdy spokes, but because of the one circle of nothing in the middle. Lao Tzu spent his whole life pleading emptiness's case. We pour everything into building the have, and he keeps tapping our shoulder. What makes the have come alive is the have-not.
And once you see it, it's everywhere. A house holds people because of the empty space the walls enclose. A cup holds water because of the hollow scooped out of its middle. Come to think of it, when we buy a home, what we're actually paying for is the emptiness.
Exactly. And in that same chapter, Lao Tzu points at both of those too. Shape clay into a vessel, and it's the hollow that makes it a vessel. Cut doors and windows for a room, and it's the openings that make it livable. Isn't it striking? With objects, we understand emptiness perfectly. It's only with our own minds that we refuse to leave a single square inch unfilled.
Now I get it. A solid guitar wouldn't ring. A temple bell cast solid through would never sound. The music and the wind both come out of the empty part.
Every instrument says so. The flute, the drum, the bell, the resonance chamber of a cello. Wondrous being lives inside emptiness. And between heaven and earth, it is just the same. Look up. Between sky and ground, there seems to be nothing at all. Vast, open, unfilled. And yet inside that very openness, the four seasons keep turning. The grasses and forests keep growing. Generation after generation of living things keeps arriving and departing. Never once has it stalled. The Book of Changes holds two lines that read like captions for this Bellows. One yin and one yang. This is called the Tao. And life giving birth to life without end. This is the meaning of change. A bellows pushing and pulling. Isn't that one yin and one yang? Day and night, cold and heat, one breath in and one breath out. The heart's own squeeze and release. Heaven and earth have been working this great bellows for billions of years, and the more it moves, the more life pours out. That is, the more it is in motion, the more it generates.
One breath in and one breath out. Leo, saying it that way, each of us has been carrying a small bellows since the day we were born, and it has never once stopped.
And friends, you can touch this for yourself right now. No need to close your eyes. Just breathe in the way you always do and slowly let it out. Good. Now notice one small place, the tiny gap after the breath has fully left, before the next one arrives. Inside that half second, there is nothing. No inhale, no exhale, just an open pause. And are you anxious in it? No, because you know, without knowing how you know, that the next breath is already rising out of that gap on its own. Friends, it is hollow and contains nothing, and yet its function is never compromised. You just touched it with your own lungs. The life is not in the air. The life is in the empty space that lets the air come and go.
That's so vast. But Leo, let me drag it back down to where we actually live. If the mind is a bellows too, then I have to confess, mine is stuffed so tight I doubt a single thread of wind could get through. My calendar, my unread messages, my to-do list, that one comment somebody made, and the running monologue narrating all of it. By bedtime, my head is still humming.
Amy, that word stuffed is the medical chart of our whole generation.
Look at an ordinary day. Eyes open, phone first. Earbuds in for the commute. A video with every meal. Messages answered in every queue. Even sitting still, the mind has a dozen windows open. What did that remark this morning really mean? The report is still missing a page. The group chat badge is still red. And then we're baffled. I didn't do anything heavy today. Why am I this exhausted? Friends, the answer is written in the reverse of this very line. A bellows crammed with objects cannot move. No wind comes out. A mind crammed with thoughts, awareness cannot breathe through it, and the person withers. The word Lao Tzu uses, the box's function being compromised, that is depletion, running dry. Hollow and never compromised, that means because it is empty, it can never be exhausted. Turn it around and it becomes our diagnosis. Our exhaustion almost never comes from doing too much. It comes from a mind that is too full.
Then I want to confess one more thing, because it proves your point. I've discovered I have a fear of empty gaps. Any blank moment, waiting for a bus, standing in a line, my hand reaches for the phone on its own. Once my phone died on the train, and I was genuinely restless for 2 whole stops. There was a voice going, "What a waste of time. I should be doing something." Looking back, it's almost funny. I finally got a moment of emptiness, and I went through withdrawal.
That confession, Amy, is most people's daily life. And look how interesting that voice is. I should be doing something. It has decided that emptiness is an enemy, a waste, a leak in the schedule. And Lao Tzu stands quietly to the side saying, "Dear child, the empty space is where you recharge."
But why are we so afraid of it, Leo? Afraid enough that 3 minutes on a train platform has to be filled?
Because somewhere along the way, the mind signed a secret equation. I equals what I contain. My title, my calendar, my achievements, other people's opinions of me. The higher the contents pile up, the more solidly I seem to exist. So the moment the mind empties, the equation sounds its alarm. The contents are vanishing. Is I about to vanish too? Friends, that is the true face of our fear of emptiness. It was never boredom we feared. It was the quiet glimpse that the equation might be false. But remember the breath gap you touched a few minutes ago. For half a second, the air was gone. Did you vanish? You did not. The contents come and go. The one who knows the contents has never gone anywhere. What empties out is only the clutter. It was never you.
What empties out is only the clutter. It was never you. Honestly, that one line is worth the whole episode.
And this emptiness has one more use, the gentlest one of all, leaving room for another person. Amy, do you know that experience? Someone in the family is talking to you, and your mouth is saying, but inside you're already rehearsing your reply or running tomorrow's list?
I was just about to confess exactly that. On phone calls with my mom, I'm so often half listening, half scrolling, half planning tomorrow. Then one evening, I don't even know why, I turned the phone face down and just listened. And that night, my mom told me things she never tells me. After we hung up, I understood. It was never that she didn't want to share. She could feel, through the phone, that there was no room in me to receive it.
Amy, that story carries never compromised straight into the human heart. A mind stuffed full, listening to anyone, hears only itself. A mind that keeps some emptiness, that's the mind other people's true words can finally enter. And see how the Bellows law holds at every scale, from one phone call to the whole turning sky. Empty this much, and you can hold this much. Hold this much, and this much life comes through. The Flower Garland Sutra, one of the great Buddhist scriptures, has a line that gazes at this bellows from across the centuries. If you wish to know the realm of the Buddhas, make your mind as pure as empty space. Listen to the direction of that sentence. The Buddha's realm is not something you add, it is something you empty into view. The practice was never to move one more set of doctrines into the mind's crowded apartment. It is to carry the clutter out, piece by piece, until the original room appears. Let me pause here for one breath. If you've been going in circles inside, the busier I am, the emptier I feel, then maybe this old wind box was prepared exactly for you. We'd love for you to subscribe to our channel, Voice of Heavenly Tao, and share the road to awakening with one friend whose calendar has swallowed them whole. Someone who hasn't taken a true breath in a long time. This episode's emptiness might be the very thing they need this week. All right, let's continue. Now that we're back, let me name a phenomenon I promise you've lived. Have you noticed that your best ideas almost never show up in the meeting room? They wait, and then ambush you in the shower, on a walk, at the wheel with the wipers going.
Yes, it's uncanny, and everyone seems to have their own version of it. You chew on a problem all day and get nothing, and then the answer strolls in, uninvited, over the dishes or halfway through a walk. Why does it work like that?
Because in those few minutes, the mind finally had one pane of empty. In the meeting room, the bellows is jammed shut. Every inch is occupied by, I must think of it now. In the shower, on the walk, the hands are busy. The grip relaxes, the stuffing loosens. And the instant one pane opens, the more it is in motion, the more it generates. The insight pours in on its own. Friends, this is the most everyday evidence you will ever collect that its function is never compromised. Wisdom is never squeezed out. It is given an empty seat, and it sits down.
Then here is the question everything has been building toward, and I'll ask it for all of us. The principle is clear now. Empty is useful. But how do you actually empty a mind? We can't exactly delete our memories.
Asked straight to the bone. And here, friends, is the greatest good news in this whole chapter. You do not need to manufacture an empty mind, because the emptiness is already there, and it has never truly been blocked. Think back to what Amy said, the head humming at bedtime. In that moment, who knew the head was humming? The calendar items, the messages, the grievances, the running monologue, they come and they go, single file through the mind. But the one that knows they come and go, which one of them is it? It isn't the calendar, it isn't the message, it isn't even the grievance. And precisely because it is not any one of them, every one of them can be seen by it. Just as the bellows' emptiness is not any object inside the box, which is exactly why every gust of wind can move through it.
It isn't any thought, so it can see every thought.
That's it, all of it. Hollow. That is the essence, your original nature, owning not a single thing, the room that was never furnished. The more it generates, that is the function. The moment life touches it, wisdom answers. The elders press this into one working phrase. Set down all conditions. Let not one thought arise. People hear it and panic. Not one thought? Wouldn't I become a wooden statue? Friends, precisely the opposite. When the bellows is empty, it isn't dead. One push and the wind never ends. When the mind is empty, it isn't dull. The situation arrives and the right response comes out clear, faster than usual,
kinder than usual. Set down this much, and this much shines through. That is the practitioner's reading of today's whole passage. The essence is empty. The function has no end. And here's the part I love most. This bellows of life comes with a handle. It can actually be pumped. The elders handed down the plainest body method there is, the bow. In the temple, one bows down and rises, bows down and rises, and the body's own lowering and lifting is the push and pull on the inner bellows. The point was never that the motion is magical. The point is what happens in that moment. The head goes below the heart. The posture empties itself. The mind's scheming has nowhere to stand. Humility all the way to the floor. And the noisy thoughts touch ground with it. Rise and bow. Rise and bow. And some people find tears coming without any sadness at all. That's not grief. That's something jammed for years, finally loosening.
I once heard an elder describe the bow as lowering your head to a place beneath your own heart. With today's image, that turns three-dimensional. Every time the body folds down, it's driving wind into your own furnace.
Beautifully said. And if bowing isn't part of your life yet, that's perfectly all right. One deep breath taken honestly, one true minute of silence, one gentle gathering in of attention that's been scattered across the day. Every one of these is a hand on the handle. You know, scientists have long searched the cosmos for a white hole, the opposite of a black hole. Instead of swallowing everything, it would pour out energy without end. They're still looking. But the practitioners have known one thing all along. The source that pours out wisdom and vows without end is not in deep space. It is on you, and it has a door. As for where that door is, Lao Tzu kept it for the very last line of this chapter. We'll open it together next time. Now, I won't hand you the chapter's practice today. That belongs to the final part, once we've heard Lao Tzu's last line. Today, let me simply leave a door open. Life already gives you the gaps, the bus stop, the checkout line, the elevator, the quiet before sleep. The next time one of them arrives, you don't have to fill it. Stand in it for 30 seconds, doing nothing. The thought, "What a waste, do something," will absolutely show up. Wonderful. Watch it, the way you'd watch the last piece of clutter in the bellows. Don't chase it out, don't take its orders, just watch it settle on its own. And at night, if it calls to you, let the day leave with a few slow breaths. The scripts, the screens, the scorekeeping flowing out on the exhale, until the body rests like a bellows after closing time, quietly, contentedly empty. Stay empty a little while, and you'll discover something. Empty isn't empty at all.
But Leo, in those 30 seconds, the thoughts will keep running back in. 1 second it's the message I haven't answered. The next it's what to make for dinner. Does that count as failing?
Not in the slightest. In fact, that is the craft. A thought drifting back in is like dust drifting into a bellows, the most natural thing in the world. The craft has only 4 small steps. See it. A thought has come. Know it for what it is, a passing mote of dust, not a command. Don't take up its offer. Don't actually start planning the dinner menu. And then, let it drift out by itself. You are not required to scrub the bellows spotless. That scrubbing effort would just be a new kind of stuffing. As long as you don't hug the dust to your chest, the bellows is empty.
Then one more question. Sitting quietly like that, how is it different from just zoning out?
A wonderful distinction. Zoning out is a mind that has wandered off. Nobody's home. The window's dark. Standing in the gap is the opposite. The lights are on. You are completely here. You're just not talking. And you can tell them apart by their fruit. After zoning out, a person is usually groggier. After 30 true seconds of empty, the eyes come out brighter, because wind has just made one full pass through the room.
Empty isn't empty at all. I'm starting tonight.
Let me seal today's emptiness with one old story. A learned professor once visited an old monk to ask about the way. The monk said nothing. He just poured tea. The cup filled, and he kept pouring. Tea ran over the rim across the table. The professor jumped. "Master, it's full. It can't hold anymore." The old monk set down the pot and smiled. "Exactly so. And you are like this cup, already filled to the brim with your own views. Whatever I say now, where would it go?"
Huh. I suspect that professor remembered that cup for the rest of his life. So it was never that the truth is scarce, it's that an empty cup is rare.
And 25 centuries ago, on the other side of the world, the Greek philosopher Socrates said, "I know that I know nothing." He was called the wisest man of his age, and he insisted he knew nothing at all. That was no polite modesty. His wisdom was precisely that his cup was kept forever empty, so everything could enter and everything could be seen. Friends, the blacksmith's bellows in the east, the teacup running over on the table, the empty cup of Athens. One teaching, three voices. Empty yourself, and heaven and earth lend you everything, without end.
Let me gather today's 3 souvenirs for us. 1. Only the empty can breathe out wind. The mind's strength was never in how much it holds, but in how much it leaves open. 2. What empties out is only the clutter, never you. So don't fear the gap. There's no loss in there, only a homecoming. 3. This bellows is standard equipment. Everyone has one, and one breath, one silence, one gathering in of the attention is a push on its handle.
Well gathered. And notice, the gaps were already yours. The half minute at the bus stop, the slow breaths before sleep. Nothing to schedule, nothing to add. It's not one more thing to do. It's one less thing to stuff. And so today we've met the great bellows of heaven and earth, hollow and never compromised. The more it moves, the more it gives. And we've recognized the one inside us, the awareness that is not any thought, and so can see every thought, that shines exactly as much as we set down. Next time, we arrive at the final line of the chapter, and the most concrete handle Lao Tzu ever offers us. Countless words, better to hold your middle. Why does talking too much leave a person poor? And where exactly is this middle? That door? We'll open it together next time. Before we go, as always, one question to carry through the week. Don't rush an answer. Let it steep. If you set down everything the mind is holding, every title, every calendar line, every to-do, and every grievance against another person, the one who remains, standing empty-handed, who is that?
It feels like the whole room went quiet on that one. This week, we'll all be carrying it.
If this episode helped you even a little, please give it a like, subscribe to our channel, Voice of Heavenly Tao, and tell us in the comments about your inner weather this week. Which moment was stuffed solid, and which moment finally came up empty? Your support is what keeps the two of us walking. Having learned this far, if there is any error or any clumsiness in how I've shared it, I humbly ask the wise ones and all the awakened ones before us for their compassion and their correction. Thank you, friends. We'll meet again next time.
Gratitude for the grace of heaven and virtue of teachers. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.